Only 8 months ago, Keir Starmer celebrating a Labour landslide. Grimsby, one of the Labour gains that made it possible.
Now we can look forward again, walk into the morning, the sunlight of hope, pale at first, but getting stronger through the day.
Grimsby was won from the Tories. Reform came second. Now it's a target for all three parties.
What we need to write down is that number one issue.
We asked the pollster James Johnson to conduct focus groups. The voices you hear in this group voted Labour last July, but not with much affection.
Thinking back to July last year, what was the main reason you voted Labour?
I feel the Conservatives since 2020 had really let down the British public.
I had been more or less a lifelong Conservative voter, but during their last period in office I got more and more disillusioned, to the point where I thought they really don't care about the common people in the country whatsoever. So I thought with Labour it might change, but it seems they've gone worse.
I wanted the Conservatives out, so that's why I voted Labour.
I think everyone was disappointed with the Conservatives.
What I want you to do is I want you to write up in one word how you'd sum up how Labour has done since they've been elected.
Disgraceful. They've completely made idiots out of most of the public who gave trust to them.
Disappointing.
Disappointing.
They're a failure. Unimpressed. They've not made an impression on me at all.
Disappointing.
Keir Starmer came to Grimsby Town Hall for the last TV battle of the election.
If you leave your country in a worse state than when you came into government, you should be booted out.
Gathered in the same building, these Grimsby voters have come to quick and harsh judgments on the party they backed.
How would you grade how Labour have done in government so far?
Grade F, way down.
Ungraded.
Disappointing.
F minus.
Failed.
Grade D below average.
You should hit the ground running. You should have had your policies in place and act instantly, just like Donald Trump did within the first 100 days. Look at what he achieved.
Yeah.
What's the most important issue?
For these voters, immigration is often stated as one of their top priorities.
NHS and immigration.
Immigration and then obviously the economy.
I do think Britain needs to come first.
East Marsh in Grimsby has some of the highest unemployment and claimant figures for the country. Some Labour strategists hope recent government policies, like on welfare, switching the aid budget to defence, might gain them support in seats like Grimsby. But you find for some here, much is seen through the prism of immigration.
The welfare system as it's set up, it can't be defended.
Is he right or wrong?
You say we can do all this for migrants coming in. Well, why can't we do that for people native to Britain? Like give them a place to live, everything they need to get started on their feet.
And put your hand up if these welfare reforms would make you less likely to vote Labour in the future. Put your hand up.
Grimsby had one of the lowest turnouts in the country in the last general election, 46%. Our second focus group was made up of those who didn't vote last time round. All parties need to woo some of these voters.
What was the reason you didn't vote last time round?
I didn't vote because there was not one party amongst any of them that I actually believed in.
All you're ever going to have is Conservative or Labour. There's no other choice in the matter. So you either vote for Tweedledee or you vote for Tweedledum. That's your choices, basically.
I like that one.
What has Labour achieved since coming into government?
Nothing. Giving Ukraine money.
Yeah, give Ukraine money.
Not a lot.
What has
Got
Labour
into bed with
achieved?
Trump. That's it, really.
Keir Starmer, how would you sum up him?
Slimy.
I like that one.
He is slimy.
Oh, I like yours.
He's a Muppet puppet.
I want to be a sheep.
Only 5 years ago, Grimsby voted Conservative when Boris Johnson was party leader.
Immigration is far too high.
How is Kemi Badenoch connecting with these voters?
Kemi Badenoch in a word or a phrase?
I'm undecided at the minute. Possibility.
Not strong enough.
No impact whatsoever.
She's a cat's eye that's not lit up in the middle of the road. She just sat on the fence.
In our other group, Kemi Badenoch's not doing too well, winning back 2024 Labour voters to the Tories.
Not a leader.
No opinion.
Who?
Nothing to write. No, I don't know much about it at all.
Uninteresting, I forget she exists sometimes.
Keir Starmer recently told cabinet ministers that for people around the country, old notions of the left-right axis in politics were changing.
Grab this for me.
We asked those who voted Labour only 8 months ago where they put political leaders and themselves on the political spectrum.
I'm generally moving more far right because of the politics in this country. I've never been that way before.
With a lot of what I'm seeing at the moment, I'm having myself being pushed towards the right because I'm not really having any confidence, certainly, in the way things are going.
I used to consider myself more centre, but I would be going more on the right side now.
This is a seat Nigel Farage has firmly in his sights. He needs switchers from Labour and voters who didn't vote last time. But there are some indications being around a long time on the political scene isn't always a plus.
Anybody that arrives via a dinghy on the English Channel will never, ever, ever be allowed to stay in our country.
Nigel Farage in a word or a phrase?
False.
Confused.
Dangerous and an opportunist.
He's a great actor and a showman.
He comes across as relatable.
I think he's a phony, he just plays to the crowd.
For all the doubts in both groups, reform is making gains right now.
Who would you choose to be in number 10? So all Farage and one Starmer.
And amongst those who did not vote last time...
In a word or a sentence, Nigel Farage.
Could be. Too old, he's had his moment in glory. He's been around for God knows how many years now. He's done nothing.
Wrinkly.
I like that.
He's a photo or video opportunist.
Yeah, that's true.
Wants to be every man.
Yeah, proud to be British.
Out of these leaders, if you had to choose, who would you most like to be in number 10 as Prime Minister?
Oh, sorry.
Farage, Kemi, Farage. 7 Farage, 1 Kemi Badenoch. OK.
Keir Starmer's caught the headlines with recent shifts in policy that were considered too right-wing for Tory governments to consider. They haven't brought great dividends in the polls or in our focus groups. But he may correctly have identified that many voters are displaying record levels of weariness and impatience.